Peace. Good morning. How you doing? It is Monday, another day for you to start your week off right. And starting your week off right does take you to step into the world of consistency is currency. Thank you for being here on the podcast. Thank you for everybody that's watching right now, those in Facebook world, those who are listening and watching on YouTube, those who are just listening on the podcast. I thank you for all that you are doing and all that you do. So I'm gonna give a shout out definitely for those that are in the international space, those who have been listening thus far, who have been committed to listening to the podcast. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm just going to just read, tell you. I'm a shout your country out just because you've been watching and listening on the podcast itself. So Italy, I appreciate you. Shout out to Italy, Nigeria, India, Germany, South Africa, Morocco, Canada, Mexico. Who else is in here? New Zealand, Ireland, Turkey, Netherlands. I appreciate you for watching. So if for listening. So if you're listening right now on the podcast and you're from one of those countries, I appreciate you for doing what you do by stepping out and learning and listening from a whole nother perspective. So those that are watching right now on Facebook, I appreciate you. Go ahead and share this live on your news feed or share it in a Facebook group that you know that would definitely love to hear about what we're talking about. And I'm going to bring this up. We're going to get through this. Definitely don't want to be on here long. The 5 power decisions to make before 2022. The 5 power decisions to make before 2022. Peace. How you doing, Miss Salinas? Aloha. Tita, sister. Miss Latricia Sheree, I appreciate you for being here all the way from VA. Well, you in Maryland. You all the way in Maryland now. So let's go ahead and drop the 5 decisions to make before 2022. Yeah, I want this setting. All right, here we go. If one of these 5 power decisions that you are watching or listening, if it resonates with you, go ahead and put that inside the chat. Put down whichever number or put down whichever saying that's going to come with it. Go ahead and drop that. All right. So as you know, what we always do, we go into the definition and then we're going to take it forward into what we're going to be talking about. So decision, one of the definitions for decision is a act or process of deciding the moment of decision has come. That is something that you're going to have to be in that space to say, you know what, there is more in me that I know that I have that I need to bring into fruition. There is more in me that I know I want to manifest. So knowing that there is more inside of you that you want to manifest, this is the moment of decision that has come. I'm not a type of person that talk about New Year's resolutions and things of that nature because, a resolution is something that is firm, a firm decision that you're going to make. But how many times have we created these New Year's resolutions that really didn't resonate with us, or the New Year's resolution that it did not even go past April because you've made this affirmed conversation with yourself, but you never really created a decision with it? Because we can talk about resolution all day, but until you look at what's in the vein of a resolution actually will not come to pass. Because within the vein of a resolution is a decision. A resolution without a decision is not a resolution. It is a affirmed idea or conceptual conversation that you're having with yourself in belief that things will come to pass, or the things that you say that you will do will actually manifest itself. How many of you have went to a vision board class or workshop and the things that you put on your vision board really didn't come to pass because you never had an affirmed conversation with yourself? Because again, within the vein of a resolution lies your decision. But before you make your decision, you have to be in the moment of the decision to where you say, there will be never another day that I will do this. All right, so let's jump into it. The 5 decisions to make before 2022. The 5 decisions to make before 2022. All right, number one. Number one is to make shift-changing decisions. You're like, how you going to say the very first one has the same word of the 5 that you're talking about? Because you're going to have to be in that deciding factor that is going to make a difference in what you see, what you say, what you do, where you go, where you find yourself, who you communicate with, who you no longer should be communicating with, because you're going to have to make a decision that is going to shift you and put you in a direction that is going to take you forward. You're going to have to make a shift-changing decision, whether it is to continue to eat properly or to continue to work out or to even start eating properly or to start working out, because working out has more health benefits than you laying your lazy tail in that bed deciding on what time you want to get up, but you never take the steps into waking up. Or let me retract. You never take the steps into getting up. You may be awoke. You may be woke. You may be awake, but you're watching TV and watching the internet and doing everything else that has nothing to do that is going to shift and to make change in your life. I can say that because I'm speaking from a personal perspective, because before I just began to do podcasting and began to have these morning conversations with myself, that's all I'm doing. I'm having morning conversations with myself and I am involving you in it, because I had to make a shift-changing decision to be openly and outward with my conversation that I have with myself, and I share those conversations with you. So make a shift-changing decision on something that is going to have a healthy benefit for you and a healthy benefit for the things and the people that you surround yourself with. So the first thing, make a shift-changing decision. If you understand what the number one is, this is the reason why I made it number one, because a lot of times people want to talk about making decisions, but they don't make a decision. That's crazy, because the only person that's going to understand why this is number one are the people that's going to have that aha moment, or someone who have been battling with making a decision, but they never got themselves to a conclusion that a decision need to be made. And when you make that decision, make sure that decision counts. That's a shift-changing decision. A shift-changing decision is the decision that counts, is the decision that has benefits, is a decision that actually is going to take you not from point A to point B, but a decision that's going to take you and shift you from A and get you to the point of a resolution, or to get you to the point of Z. All right, number two. Number two is to create a routine, regimen, and system. Because a computer is just a computer until you actually begin to work on it, until you begin to utilize it, until you begin to create with it, until you begin to create a regimen. You are going to need to create a routine, regimen, and system. I didn't want to break this up to say number 2, routine, number 3, regimen, number 4, system. No, when you create a regimen, when you create a routine, regimen, and a system, there will be a newness in how you carry yourself. There will be a newness in how you eat. There will be a newness in the places that you go. There will be a newness in what happens when you wake up. Just like I spoke about with the 2% of the environment, 2% of your environment when you first wake up is the first 28 minutes of your day. What are you doing after you wake up? What regimen have you created? What routine are you doing daily, and what systems do you have in place in order for you to continue to do those things? Only you are going to answer this one and actually do it. This is a doing. Number 2 is something that you have to do. That's why it says to create. This is something that you're going to have to do. Write down what routine that you want to do. Write down the regimen that you want to attach to the routine and develop the system that is going to allow you to duplicate that process. This number two has a action behind it, but you're going to have to face the actions with it. All right, number three, read a book or listen to the audio books. Because we got people that, I don't like to read. Okay, bet. Here's an audio book. Listen to the audio book. But you're going to have to ensure that you're feeding your mind. Feed your mind, and I guarantee you, your mind will act or react in accordance with what you read. Now, I was reading a book called Failing Forward. Reading that book called Failing Forward, I had to stop reading that book and to read something else. That's just me. That's my transparent moment. There's nothing wrong with the book Failing Forward, but as I begin to read more and more about this book, a lot of the conversations and the thoughts that I've begun to have was all about failing. What do you do when you're failing and failing? That I had to say, okay, I have to balance out these thoughts because the book is good, but I have to ensure that what I'm reading is going to actually balance out. So if you have a book that always keeps you in one spectrum or one side, balance that book out with something else. Or you can even flip it to say, okay, I'm gonna do an audiobooks this month, and I'm gonna read one page, once a week, whatever it is. But ensure that you're feeding your mind, because the word learn, the definition of learn is the process of acquiring knowledge. So the process of acquiring knowledge is either going to be reading a book or listening to a book, but make sure you do it. So that's number three, read a book or listen to an audio. Again, if there's something that resonates with you, go ahead and drop it in the comment section or drop it in the chat, or just begin to create dialogue amongst each other as you're doing it, because there may be someone who is not quite there yet as far as reading a book. Or you may be able to drop a book inside the comment section that, hey, I've been reading this book. Y'all might want to check this out, or drop the link of the book. Or if you're a person that writes books and that book is going to help someone in their professional development, or something that's going to help them out, from the health perspective or even from the mental health perspective, you can drop that inside the comment too. All right. So number 4 is watch YouTube videos or listen to podcasts. Watch a nice YouTube video, something that's going to shift the paradigm, something that's going to take you out of your space and take you out of your comfort zone. So like for me, again, my 2% environment, the first 28 minutes of my day is me getting up, me getting dressed, me getting out of the house. Because for me, I wake up at 5 o'clock, but I need to get up and be out of the bed by 5:10. Just so I can go to be prepared to walk out of the house at 5:30, just so I can go and get on and start running. That's my regimen. That's my routine. That's my system. But during my regimen, routine, and system, I listen to YouTube videos, things that's empowering me, that's going to feed my psyche or feed me in the morning time. So listening to it, watch a YouTube video or listen to a podcast, something that's going to feed you personally. And I guarantee you will have a newness in your day because you're feeding yourself from a different perspective outside of the physical side, meaning eating foods and berries and drinking shakes and stuff like that. But you're feeding the inner man. So watch YouTube videos and listen to podcasts, or if you can listen to Consistency is Currency, you can go ahead and click that link up at the top and you can subscribe so you will always get it, so you can listen to it even when you don't have time. All right, so that's number 4. And number 5, create a time that is dedicated. Create a time that is dedicated. Now, creating a time that is dedicated to blank, you create whatever it is that you want to put after dedicated. creating a time that is dedicated to my children, creating a time that's dedicated to my health, creating a time that's dedicated to my spirituality, creating a time that's dedicated to the family. You're going to have to create that time that's dedicated. Whether you go back to having date nights or you go and work out in the gym, on the weekends, whatever it is, you're going to have to create that time that's dedicated to you, or create that time that's dedicated to what you want, whether it's your family or someone you love, or your business, whatever it is. Create that time that is dedicated, and do not allow anything to take or to inject themselves in that time that you have allotted, that is that dedicated time. Because anything that you allow to be allotted as dedicated time, whatever penetrates that time, that is yours. That is yours to keep. That is not you blaming it on anyone else. Because if you say my time that's blocked is between 6 in the morning and 8 in the morning, anything that gets inside of that time, you own it. You have to be responsible for what you allow in that time that's dedicated. Or you're going to have to communicate with that time that you have set aside, either with someone else, communicate with them to let them know, hey, this is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. I'll do this, blah, 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 whatever it is. But you're going to have to communicate, especially when you have that time that's allotted and dedicated with people that you love. Communication will definitely assist you in ensuring that dedicated time that you have is always clean and clear. So that's it. That's the 5 decisions. But this is the R2 decision. So a decision is a formal thought to change. How do you see that? How do you see this R2 definition? A decision is a formal thought to change. Because when you get to the point in the position of your life to say, you know what, I want to change the way I eat, you're going to have, again, that inner conversation with yourself. You're going to have that formal thought that you're going to have to act upon in order for change to even come to pass. In order for change to be manifested, you're going to have that formal thought and that formal conversation with yourself in order for change to take place. And those are the 5 decisions to make before 2022. I thank you, and I definitely appreciate you for just being here and being in this space. Tomorrow I'm gonna come out with another 5. I got to figure it out. It was already in my head, but not the 5 decisions to change, but 5 other things. But anyway, I definitely appreciate you. What are some of the things that that you need to do different now, instead of you trying to make this false resolutions like a false prophet? Instead of you prophesying over your life and what next year is going to be like, what are you going to do right now that's going to prepare you to get you to that point, that is going to make that formal thought into change, that's going to get you to make that decision for yourself to make it much bigger and better and stronger? Hey, this Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency. Peace.